Story time about a woman that did a vanishing spell that completely ended up ruining her life. We're gonna call her.
I went to New Orleans for my bestie Deja's birthday. The Airbnb was nice.
Imagine someone coming into your house and blowing dust in the air, and then you just happen to do whatever they say afterwards.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Huh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all pay. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming.
Imagine casting a banishing spell and it comes right back to you and ruin your life. Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. Welcome back to another episode of Spooky Storytime. I hope you're ready because these stories are crazy. Go ahead and grab your drink, grab your snack, grab your smoke, whatever it is that you enjoy while watching me, and let's get into these stories. Come on.
Story time about a woman that did a vanishing spell that completely ended up ruining her life. We're gonna call her Marisol. She would like to be anonymous. Marisol was living in the small apartment with her 3 sons. She had 2 boys that were under the age of 10, and she had an older son that was about 19 years old. Let's call him Daniel. They didn't live in the best neighborhood, but they were safe. Everything was fine until one day they had a new neighbor move in right next door. We're gonna call the new neighbor Sabrina. Sabrina was about in her mid to late 20s. From the moment Sabrina moved in next door, it was complete chaos. She was constantly throwing parties left and right. Different people coming and going at all hours of the day. She always had music blasting. Her special kind of music was like reggaeton. She always had it blasting at all hours, no matter how late it was. At first, Marisol tried to just kind of mind her business and stay out of it until one day she's sitting on the living room trying to help her son, her younger son, with his homework. He was becoming so frustrated because he couldn't concentrate with the loud music that Marisol decided to go next door and knock on the door and ask Sabrina if she could please keep it down. When she walked over, she knocked. Sabrina opens. Marisol very nicely tells her hey, my son's trying to do his homework. Do you mind just keeping the music down? Sabrina started to laugh at her and almost make fun of her and made a huge scene out of it, so much so that the people that were in her house kind of came out and were looking at Marisol, kind of making fun of her and calling her a bunch of different names. Marisol decided that she wasn't going to engage in this sort of behavior, so she went to walk away, and when she went to turn around, Sabrina went and hit her. She hit her so hard that Marisol literally hit the ground. At which point the neighbors come out and everybody's looking out of the window, seeing what's going on. Marisol decides to call the cops. When the cops show up, Sabrina tries to switch the story and say that it was Marisol who hit her. Since no one wanted to come forward and corroborate the story or take Marisol's side, the cops pretty much believed Sabrina. The cops decided that they were not going to press any charges, and they pretty much told Sabrina and Marisol to stay away from each other. From that point forward, Marisol was completely frustrated because of what happened, but she decided that she was just gonna try to avoid her at all costs, which was really hard being that Sabrina lived right next door. After this, it was almost like Sabrina was going out of her way to make Maribel even more miserable. The parties got louder, the music got louder, the chaos just became uncontrollable. One night, things really took a turn for the worse when Marisol came home. When she walked in, she said that her apartment felt strangely quiet, but she could hear noises coming from her son's room, the 19-year-old Daniel. She slowly crept over to his room. She kind of opened the door and she sees Daniel in bed with Sabrina. Marisol completely lost it, started yelling for Sabrina to leave her house, while her son yelled at her, telling her to leave him alone, to mind her business, that Sabrina was the love of his life. After this, Marisol felt completely powerless. How could this have happened in her own home, and how is this woman coming in here and completely ruining her life? I'm going to do a part 2 because this video is getting a little long, and I promise it's going to be up literally seconds after I post this one. So after Marisol comes home and finds her son Daniel in bed with Sabrina, she completely loses it. She kicks Sabrina out and all hell breaks loose. That night she couldn't sleep. She was completely restless. She felt like her life was falling apart. She had no control over anything. A few days later, Marisol hears a knock at the door, and it is her neighbor Gloria. Now Gloria lives behind her. When Marisol opens the door, Gloria tells her that Sabrina has been trying to get with her husband, with Gloria's husband, and that she already knew that Marisol didn't like her because of what happened, that if Marisol wanted to get together with Gloria to come up with a plan to get rid of Sabrina, for Sabrina to leave the neighborhood. Gloria tells her that if she wants, they can go talk to someone that would get rid of her for sure. Marisol has never really believed in brujeria and any of that stuff, but she was pretty desperate, and Gloria made it clear that whether Marisol was involved or not, that she was going to go ahead and do it anyways. So Marisol agreed. They both went to see this bruja by the name of Lala. When they first walked in, they explained the situation, and Lala told them that she would go ahead and create a vanishing spell. But she also made it clear that vanishing spells came with a price, that anytime you did a vanishing spell on someone, that something of yours would be taken away. That she would do her best to protect them, but she couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't lose something. Not really understanding what they were signing off on, they went ahead and told Lala to go ahead with the spell. Lala went ahead and put something together she gave to them and told them to put it in front of Sabrina's door and just leave it there. That night, they did just that. They went ahead and sprinkled this substance in front of Sabrina's door and followed the instructions that Lala had given them and hoped for the best. A few days later, the consequences started. Marisol came home and her son Daniel wasn't home. At first, she thought that maybe he was at a friend's house, so she didn't really think much of it. As nighttime came, she became a little worried because he hadn't called and hadn't left a note, and he wasn't responding to any of her text messages. By the next morning, she becomes even more worried when her son Daniel still wasn't home. Just then, she receives a phone call from an unknown number. When she picks up, she hears a voice. She's not sure if it's a male or a female, but the voice says, "I know where your son is. He is next door. Just go in, the door is unlocked." And before Marisol had a chance to even ask who it was or who was even talking to her, they hung up. Marisol right away ran over to the next door apartment. She knocked on the door. When no one answered, she just let herself in. As she's walking around, she's calling for her son's name, but he's not responding. She does notice that the apartment looks ransacked, and it almost looked like Sabrina packed up and left in a hurry. As she's making her way around the rest of the living room, she sees her son at the end of the hallway. He's laying on a couch and he is completely pale. Her son had OD'd. That was the last time anyone had ever heard or seen Sabrina. Sabrina completely vanished. But Marisol believes that the price that she paid for Sabrina leaving her life was her son, Daniel.
Okay, this was a very bizarre story, but in my opinion, the reason why the son was the one that ended up getting the repercussion of everything that happened is because whenever you do stuff like this, you have to be highly protected because it takes so much energy, so much of your energy for that work to be done. And on top of that, if the work does not penetrate this person, it will ricochet. So basically, if Sabrina was a powerful person and or she has powerful people praying for her and or she has some sort of protection on her, then it doesn't penetrate her, so it ricochets. And the closest person to the mom is the son, because the son was messing around with Sabrina, and because his energy was so close to Sabrina, then it bounces off of her and to him. Because remember how I always tell you guys that, for example, if you're dating someone, right, and the person is cheating, a guy, right, or a girl, but the man is cheating, and he's cheating with someone who practices spirituality and or knows a lot about voodoo, and is crazy enough to try to do some sort of spell to take this man, even though that's not their man, they're just the side chick, right? And she decides to do something to this man, and you are sleeping with this man. If the man is protected, because the man, some way, somehow, he knows about spiritual stuff and he protects himself, and it doesn't penetrate, the next person close to him, who is the person who's intimate with that person, will be the one to get the backlash or the brunt of it all, because you are physically being intimate with this person, so it can go to you. But also, when she was doing the banishing spell, they also told her that, it will eventually take something for something, so a life for a life. And I don't think she really was trying to unalive Sabrina, but, something had to be given in order for this work to be done. So, like an offering, but maybe Sabrina was a very powerful witch, or she's just someone who is protected. She might not be a witch. Maybe she's just someone who knows about it, and she goes and get protection work done. That is the reason why she was so, arrogant to play loud music in the neighborhood, and also, even going as far as putting hands on that lady, because she knows she's a protected person. This is why I'm thinking. things that I'm thinking based on like how people react based on if they feel like they don't fear anyone, right? So Sabrina moved into this new town. She is playing loud music day in and day out, and day and night. She's playing loud music. She don't care for the people. She disregard the people who have been living here before her, because why? She probably think that, she can't be touched. She can't be touched. She's untouchable. And when the lady went to go talk to her, she even went as far as putting hands on the lady. For what? Just because she told you to turn off, lower the music a little bit. And then when the police came, no one actually stood up for the lady, which lets me know Sabrina has, a do as I say kind of thing on her to make people do as she say. And that's the reason why, even though she was in the wrong, the police even didn't see her being wrong. That is the reason everybody kind of took her side or didn't even speak at all. And then when the thing happened, she's messing with this woman's husband. She's taking that lady's son, not to say that she took him because he's willingly giving himself to her, but it lets me know it could simply be because she's very seductive and she's able to just do that. But also it could be because she probably has some oils on herself, that makes her 10 times more seductive and 10 times more sexier. I don't know, but it's very impossible because those things are out, those things are here and they're here for people to use, right? So maybe that's that. And also she probably knows how to protect herself, and because she did not get touched by it, it got to the next person that is the closest to the mom and also Sabrina, which is the son. So that's my take on that. Maybe you'll come up with a different conclusion, but based on the story, that's the only thing I can think of, because the lady was really acting like she did not care for authorities or the people who are around her, just being a very neighborly person. She wasn't that. So therefore, in my opinion, the way that it happened so quick, either the son saw the thing in front of her door and touched it, because if he touched it and it wasn't meant for him, then it can't affect him because it's meant for whoever is going to touch it. And knowing that that's her door, they put it there so she could touch it, because you just assume that the person whose house it is, they're going to be the one to move the thing. Maybe the son went because he was so in love with Sabrina, right? That he went to her house and saw the thing and wanted to be a macho man and say, oh, what is this? Touched it. And that's how it happened. Or she probably just couldn't get touched because she's protected, she's cloaked, covered in Louboutin, all of that, and it didn't touch her, and it ended up touching him because he was the nearest thing to her, and they were intimate. Because a lot of times when you don't realize that when you're intimate with someone, you pick up on a lot of their energies. Whatever is sent for them could be attached to you because you are intimate with that person. So anyways, guys, that's my take on that.
Imagine someone coming into your house and blowing dust in the air, and then you just happen to do whatever they say afterwards. What's up, cousins? So yes, I am back with another story time. We ain't gonna waste no time, and let's get into it. For this story, we're going to call him James. We're going to call his mom Angie. Now, James ended up becoming handicapped because one night he ended up going to the club. Now, he did sit his drink down to go to the bathroom. When he came back, he drunk it. And just so happens someone dropped eye drops in his drink. So it caused a lot of complications with his body. So James around 25 at this time. So after everything happened with him drinking these eye drops and stuff like that, his mom ended up becoming his caregiver. Now, his mom is in her 50s. Whoever did that to James in the club with his drink definitely really jacked him up for life, because now James is in a wheelchair. So normally he's outside like parlaying with the friends that he did have left. So it wasn't uncommon for his mom to see like his friends pull up and just chit chat with him on the porch. Now, this particular day, a man approached James on the porch and just kind of like, having conversation with him, chit-chatting with him. His mama is thinking nothing of it. So the mom come outside, she greets the guy. The guy then asks if he can come in to use the bathroom. So as the mom turned around for him to walk inside and use the bathroom, he takes some dust and blows it in her house. So as he's blowing this dust all in her house, he's chanting something, but Angie cannot understand what he's saying. Now Angie feel like she just stuck. She can't move, she can't walk, she's just stuck. So the man walks up and he asks her where's her credit cards and her debit cards, and also asks her for the PIN for her credit and debit cards. Angie says she would have never done this ever, but she gave him her credit and her debit cards and also the PIN numbers to both of them. The guy ends up going to the ATM and withdrawing everything out of the ATM that he can get from her bank account. And he also went to some stores and used the credit card, maxed out her credit cards. So it took her a week to get out of the state that she was in and come back to her senses and realize what just happened, or remember what just happened, because she had lost her memory. She didn't know what had happened. She assumed that the guy that James was talking to on the porch was one of his friends. Whole time James didn't even know the guy. The guy knew that James wasn't all the way there, so he befriended him just so he can get what he wanted from his mother. When she came back, she said she can still smell the odor that this dust made in her house. Now, she did go ahead and file a police report, but it was a little hard because she didn't have no camera footage outside her house or inside her house, and it was no footage of him even on the ATM withdrawing the money. She wanted to share her story to make this a message. For one, do not let anyone that you don't know in your house, because you don't know their intentions. And for two, to stay alert and stay aware, because you don't know who's watching you, who's watching your surroundings, and who you surround yourself by. And also keep protection at your house. Keep yourself protected. Keep your house protected, because you don't never know people's intentions. You don't never know what people really feel about you. So that was her message to you guys. Again, if you guys have a story that you want to submit, you can submit it to my DMs, or you can send it to my email, to the email that's in my bio. So until next time, enjoy this story.
This is something that I've always found to be bizarre. The whole dust situation, that people can just blow dust on you, causing you to get really, really sick, and also to forget everything about yourself, and you're freely giving them all your things without question. Now, before I get into the spiritual side of the whole dust, throwing dust on someone or putting this certain substance or powder in front of their door, for them to cross over and like buy their car, something like this, I want to get into the more technical part of it. So I remember I was in college, and I think it was literature I was in when we started talking about the whole dust thing. And I don't think it's Spanish fly, I think it's something else. But we were talking about the white powder that they get from this tree, and I believe it's in Cuba or Colombia, where it's like this tree, and it's a cocoa tree. It's some sort of tree. It comes with like this white flower, and they get this dust, this powder out of it, and this powder basically turn you into a zombie. So if you get this powder thrown at you or blown in your face, you literally forget who you are, and you're just literally doing things for this person or to this person without. People will think that it's normal because you present yourself as your normal self. Like, it would be me talking to you like this, but the dust have been thrown on me, right, or blown in my face, and I'm going to the bank and giving you everything. I remember one of the ladies from the story that we were watching, she was a tourist. She went to go visit, and she didn't know anything about the powder. She went to the club and she met someone, and that same night the person blew the dust in her face, and she ended up going back home to where she was staying. She picked up everything and gave to that person. She gave them all of their money, their clothes, passport, everything was given to this person because they were under control of this said powder. And now when it comes to like the spiritual part of it, in Haiti, people could tell you all the time, there's different powder that you can blow on people to make them like zombies, right? And or there are powders that people can put on you. They call a battery. Like, it's battery. Like, if you translate it in English, it's battery. But I have been told and also read that if you carry batteries, like actual batteries, in your pocket or on your person, those powders cannot affect you. Like, if you cross over this powder, because it's set for you to. So usually this is how it goes. So they'll put the powder, especially if you're someone who is like in business. I have my godmom who somebody actually put powder, and she swept the powder when she went to work in the market. I told the story before. She went to go work in the market. In Haiti market, you have to like clean the space in the morning. You have to pick your stuff up at nighttime, and in the morning you come and set up, right? So whatever station that you had yesterday, you might not have the same station. But my godmom, she actually was friendly with the person who owned the place, and he was a security guard also. So he owned the place, and also he stays there to secure, like to be the, secure the place. So all day long he'll stay there, and my godmom was very close to him. She would bring him food because she know that he stays there all day, so she'll bring him food and all that stuff. So he basically do favors for her, right? So he will keep her in the same spot so she won't have to move every day. So basically when she got to that place, she decided to, sweep the floor so she can set her things up and all that stuff. And people were kind of jealous of her that she was getting all these good treatments from this owner of this place. So they thought that she was getting the spot for free, even though she wasn't. And she was cleaning the spot, sweeping and everything, and she swept over the powder that they had placed there for her. Why? Because of greed, because they thought she was getting the spot for free, because they thought she was too close to the owner of the place. Maybe they had something going on, that's what everybody there who are also vendors were thinking. And they put the powder there, and when she swept the powder, and from there she became sick, and it was like regular sickness that you would go to the doctor for, like, right? So she had this throat thing, and they went to doctors. She had the throat thing. She says that she had the throat thing. She feels it there, and she's in a lot of pain and all that, which ended up unaliving her eventually. But doctors could not see what it was, but it was in her throat, and something, eventually it took her life. But it was a powder that was set there for her. It didn't get blown in her face or anything, but it was set in the spot for her. And because she swept it, she didn't know, she wasn't expecting anyone to be jealous of her because they're all doing the same thing. So she swept over it, and that's how she ended up unalive. It took a couple months before it unalived her. She was a very, very young person. Actually, she was maybe a couple years older than the age that I am now. So yeah, it took her out. But there's a lot of people who actually will set up powders for people. If you walk over it, if, for example, you step on it with your right foot, the right foot will become infected, and they won't know what's going on with it. They can see that it's infected. They can see that it's, it's paining you. You're in a lot of pain, but they can't do anything, because even when they do examine the feet and everything, they can't see anything wrong with it. So it's just like phantom pain kind of thing, right? But definitely a lot of people, even here, I've heard stories of people who basically have businesses and people are jealous of them, and they'll set something by their door, and none the wiser, you go home, you go to your business, you're going to go open, and you cross this powder, and all of a sudden you start getting sick. And a lot of people that I know, I have heard stories of them having to either go to back to their country to get the remedy to basically reverse the work, and or they'll go to someone here who is a powerful practitioner to do the work for them, or they go back to Haiti to get some help from some Haitians. So it's very, very popular that people are out here using powder. When the lady was like, oh, the powder thing, I was like, is it gopher dust? Because it's a whole thing, right? So a lot of people don't think that these things are actually real. And I don't make these videos to scare anyone. It's just really to bring awareness, honestly, because those things are real. Those are real things that are happening in real life. And there are people out here who are I don't know, lazy, and they don't want to do the work, or they just assume that you're getting a better deal than they are. So they become jealous, and they do these things to you, even though it's not right, but people do it all the time. So, this story was very, very interesting, that a stranger who didn't even know them simply thought that, hey, you have something that I want. Very selfish of them, but you have something that I want, so therefore I'm going to do this to you to make sure you give me other things willingly. And in that case, he wasn't shown in any cameras, because the lady probably went to the bank willingly and took out the money willingly and went back home willingly and gave the money to the person willingly, because she was under this sort of spell, because that's really what it is. Because if you have some sort of powder to throw on someone's face, which they talk about this all the time in Haiti, when you say something to the person they don't like, and then turn around, there's some powder in your face, and that's that. So yeah, it's a crazy world out here. People are real crazy. I mean, honestly, I trust an animal before I trust a human being. Even the ones that you call friends, honey. Okay, don't get me started on that, all right? Because I know a lot of family members who were unalived by a friend. A friend that they trust so much for so many years. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, do all things with love, and I talk to you guys later. Bye. You guys, bye.
I went to New Orleans for my bestie Deja's birthday. The Airbnb was nice. It was 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It was a really nice place, but it had this long, creepy hallway that led all the way down to where my best friend was staying at. Day 1, we went out. We went to Bourbon Street, had a good time, came home. Day 2, we're gonna do this all over again, but we're gonna go to the French Quarter to do it. We're sitting in the room just talking like normal. And suddenly, the bedroom light starts to flicker on and off.
Oh no.
So now I'm sitting here looking. We're looking at each other like, ooh, ooh, okay. Anyways, mind you, this is kind of like midday. It's not even nighttime yet. That happened, right? I have to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom. I leave the bathroom, turn off the lights, go back to the room. Light starts flickering again. I was like, okay, this is weird. This is weird. And so my bestie Deja, she was like, his name is Bernard. Okay, that's his new name, right? Go back to the bathroom to start getting ready. The light is on. I didn't turn it back on. It's just on. So I said, okay, that's weird. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's me losing my mind. Maybe. Now this is where it gets even more creepy. We go to this restaurant called Anton's, and we're sitting there talking, and Deja notices that all of these chandeliers in the restaurant are still, except for the one right next to us, and it's just spinning. So Deja says, Bernard, if that's you, stop. The chandelier immediately stops. And we said, oh. I said, that's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm like, whatever. I said, it's just him. He's here protecting us, yada, yada, yada. So now it's the next day-ish, and we decide to go on a haunted tour. And we go to this one called Ghost Adventures. If you go to New Orleans, go to Ghost Adventures. So we're standing outside waiting for the bus to get there to pick us up. I said, you know, it'll be so crazy. Like if we go to this cemetery and one of the tombstones says Bernard, like it'd be so crazy, like yada, yada, yada. We go to the Oddfellas graveyard. We walk in, they give us these like little devices to ghost hunt. She's showing us different things. And she's talking about how she's going to show us one particular grave that like is held near and dear to her heart. Like she has a personal connection to it because he was also from New York. He moved, he came to New Orleans, fell in love, and that's now where he's buried. And so his name was Shield. She starts talking, and one of the questions that the people like to ask is like, when is the most recent person that was buried here? When it comes to Shields, she starts talking about, oh yeah, his most recent relative that was buried here is Bernard Shields. You guys, his name was Bernard, and this caught me so far off guard. I was like, the way that I gasped and I looked at Deja and I looked at our friend Tybriana, I said, yo, ain't no way. She makes it a point to point out this particular one. I said no. We're sitting in the room at this point because now we went home, we did like all the fun stuff, and so we're sitting in the room, the main room at the end of the creepy hall, and we're talking, and I said, you know, I found a picture of Bernard. I don't know if it's actually him, but I was like, oh, it's a white man. And then I said, you know, maybe he likes some black women. And they said, this was back in the 1800s. No, he didn't. And I said, it was the 1800s. Maybe he couldn't say that he did. And I said, right, Bernard? We hear a click in the living room down the hall. I said, no, this is too real. I said, this is too real. I said, no. This house is crazy. The great thing is that I did not feel like there was any bad energy.
Hey guys, I'm Jenny and this is Shameless Plug. So I want to tell you guys about my Crown of Success manifestation book with easy, simple rituals and spells to manifest a life of abundance in your life. And those spells are so easy, even a child can do it. So this book is filled with different spells that I've learned over the years from my family, passed down from grandma and everything. And also those are spells that I've actually tried and I know that they work. So this book not only teaches you step by step on the things that you can do that are so easy that a child can do it, but it tells you like the proper moon phase to use, alchemy, manifesting with numbers, numerology, and also the days of the week that best fit for this particular spell. So it tells you the timing of when to practice the spell, the days of the week, the moon phase. It show you all the colors of the candles that you should be using and different planets. So for example, I show you like planet Jupiter is for Thursdays and the hours of the days that you should be doing the spell. So this is an easy road opener spell. So I know a lot of people like to do like different spell work, but if your roads are blocked, of course your spells are not going to work. So it's good to unblock yourself first and then start using the spell, especially with the new years and the new days to come. And also I have some amazing spells in here. This is a powerful quick money spell. So if you're in a bind for some money and you're just trying to get some money, and I even have some easy powerful spell to win game of chance. So if you are a gambler, now I don't promote gambling, but if you are a gambler and you're just trying to make some money and trying to make sure you win, these spells will definitely help you. It tells you the best days to do it. So it says the best days to perform this spell is on a Thursday, Jupiter day. Jupiter is the planet of good fortune, luck, and expansion. Jupiter is the best day to perform spells that boost luck and increase your chance of success in any game of chance or any money spell, period. It has a list of so many spells that you can incorporate in your life with this new year to bring prosperity. And I even put some bonus spells on here, which for Saturday is a day to do like protection work. So I have a spell for like send back to senders. So I put some bonus spells on here, and then a protection with Archangel Michael. So there's so many spells on here. Removing the evil eye spell, so you can remove evil eye in your money and also in your everyday life. New Year home blessing spell, and I know it's been a few days since the new year started, but you can always do a home blessing spell any days of the week. As long as you need it, you could do it. So anyways, guys, this is my book. It's called Crown of Success by Jenny, and it's available on Amazon, the ebook and also the physical copying. So please grab a copy if you're interested in supporting this channel. This is a way to support the channel and to support me as well for putting out, content every day for you guys. So enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book, and I hope you go and grab your copy, whether it's the ebook or the physical copy. I say have a physical copy, but it's really up to how much, your wallet and what you can afford. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Mwah. This is a shameless plug, so just check out my channel, okay? Love you guys. Mwah.